How do you win people to your way of thinking? In today's episode of How to Win Friends and Influence People, I'm going to be sharing some tips with you. Let's get into it. The first principle here is that you can't win an argument. The author indicates that the best way to win an argument is actually to avoid it. He says if you have to prove your point by trying to argue your way throughout, then you would lose at the end. Yes, you might win the argument, but you wouldn't be in the goodwill of the person you were arguing with or your opponent. And sometimes the person's mind would not even change. Even though you have won the argument, doesn't mean that they have automatically changed to understand where you are coming from. And so the best way is to just avoid arguments as best as possible. The second point of discussion here is how to avoid making enemies. He says that if, let's say, you are with somebody and you are arguing and you tell the person they are wrong, does that make the person totally agree with you? Of course not. You have belittled the person's intelligence, their pride, their self-respect, and because of that, they would never agree with you. They would find a way to also want to strike back. So he says that don't start your argument with saying, you are wrong, I'm going to prove so and so for you to see that you are wrong. You are trying to tell the person I'm smarter than you, and that doesn't mean the person will ever change their mind. Yes, you can win the argument and all of that, but the person will never change their mind, and the person will always want to find a way to fight back. And so he says that if you want to prove a point to somebody, do it so subtly that the person wouldn't even realize you are trying to prove a point. So you can start by saying that I may be wrong, but I was thinking differently in this way, and you can bring your point. But if you start accusing the person that you are wrong, I'm going to prove the point to you, the person would never even listen to you. So try to do it in a subtle way that the person won't even realize that you are against whatever they are saying. And so the principle here is that show respect to other people's opinion. Never say you are wrong. The third point to win people to your way of thinking is to admit it when you are wrong. So let's say your boss gives you work to do and gives you a certain deadline for you to be able to finish it, and the deadline reaches and you are not able to complete the work. The author says here you should admit first that you are wrong. So your boss is coming with anger to come and blast you that why didn't you finish it? He says everybody wants a feeling of importance. So when he comes and you start condemning yourself, then you have weakened his weapon. So he was coming to criticize you, but when he gets there, you start saying, I'm sorry, I could have done, I was working on it and this happened, I'm very sorry this and that happened. He wouldn't blast you anymore because you have already condemned yourself. But if you try to defend yourself, then you are in it for trouble. And so the lesson here is that admit it quickly when you know you are wrong. The next point I want us to discuss is the secret of Socrates. Here, the author says that if you are talking with somebody or you are discussing with other people, don't usually start with the things you differ. Start with the things you agree with. Keep emphasizing on the things you agree with. Make them understand from your point of view that you all want to achieve the same thing at the end of the day. And so the goal here is that let the person start saying yes to the things you are talking about. Yes, you disagree on something, but when you start with the things you agree with, the person already has it in their mind to listen to whatever you are saying because they also agree with that, and then you can chip in later on the things you don't agree. So this is the secret of Socrates. If you want people to listen to you, if you want people to get your way of thinking and to understand the points where you are coming from, always start with the things you agree with rather than the things you disagree with. The next point of discussion is how to handle complaints. The secret here is that if you are trying to win someone to your way of thinking, don't do too much talking. Let's say I sell products, I sell mobile phones and shoes and all of that, and a customer buys them and comes back later shouting and being angry that they're about to return the things, they won't buy things from me because it's fake, is that, is this. The natural response from you would have been to start arguing that my things are of quality, my things are this. But the author is saying that no, don't start arguing back. Sit down and listen. Encourage the person to talk. That is their problem, right? Allow them to tell you what their problem is because they know their problem better than you. Why do you think the things are fake? Why do you think you're not getting value for your money? They might say things you don't agree with, but still just keep quiet. Ask them questions. Let them express themselves. And so when you encourage them to keep talking and you ask questions and tell them, what can we do to solve this? How can I do this? I don't want to lose you as a customer. I don't want you to be angry and all of that. They will even provide you with solutions and you get them to your way of thinking. But most of the time when people come and start arguing, we also want to argue back. And those people usually don't even listen to what you are saying because they are here to talk about their problems. So allow them to do the talking. You know, one important thing to note is that you have to remember that other people may be totally wrong, but usually they don't think so. Sometimes somebody is arguing something that you just know this is very wrong and actually even very ignorant, and the person is just ignorant about the situation, but the person doesn't think so at the point. So if you try to prove your point, the person will never listen to you. The lesson here is that try to understand it from the person's point of view. If I was in this person's shoe, what would have happened? How would I have reacted? So one great lesson I'm learning from this book throughout the whole book is that always try to understand something from a person's point of view. See things the way they see it, and you would try to understand people and get them to your way of thinking. The next point I want us to discuss is what everybody wants. And so the principle here is to be sympathetic to other people's desires and their ideas, in that you try to, as I've been saying, understand things from their point of view. Tell the person that I understand how you feel. If I was in your shoes or in the same situation, I think I would have also felt the same way. You see, this is what everybody wants, that feeling of importance, that feeling of recognition, that feeling of knowing that somebody is listening to you and actually understands your point of view. And so the whole of this book on trying to win friends and influence people is that try to understand things from someone's point of view. Try to make the person feel important, try to make the person feel seen, try to make the person feel worthy, and you'll be making friends and influencing people and having people understand you and wanting to be in your corner. Do catch up on part 1 and part 2 of this series, and then you will learn so many other things about people, how to be with people, how to live with people, how to influence people. I learned so much from this book, and I know you will learn a thing or two. Kindly subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Smash the like button, and I'll be bringing you the last part from this book soon. So see you later. Bye.